Monday, the government announced a raft of changes to, the way that we carry out building regulation in this country. And as a broad observation, I would say, building regulation is a good thing. So that there are certain minimum standards for homes, and I can say I'm someone who's still living with the downstream of leaky homes. So it is good that we have a process of regulation of building when your home is one of the most important investments you ever make, and also has to house the most precious thing in the world, you and your family. But much of the problems with the New Zealand economy, we are told, has been to the fact that making new homes and new buildings is just bloody difficult with the amount of red tape and regulation that we have in this country. So in an announcement on Monday, which brought together several strands and changes, the government says it is helping to cut through that, if you like, red tape. Is it telling the truth when it says it's doing that? And what is the reaction of the industry, the people who build our houses, to it? To find out more about that, we're going to talk now to the New Zealand Certified Builders, and Malcolm Fleming is there. I think CEO. Malcolm, is that right?
Good morning, Sean. Yes, Chief Executive of the New Zealand Certified Builders
Association. Okay, for a quick primer, who are the New Zealand Certified Builders Association Federation? Who do you represent?
Okay, New Zealand Certified Builders Association represent 2,300 business members. These are primarily the SME builders working in the residential market. So, Sean, they're the sort of people that most of your businesses would envisage as being builders, with the vans and the utes and sometimes a dog and a few apprentices, etc. Average size of our membership business is about 6.
And you certify your members. Your members have to reach certain minimum criteria to be members of your organisation.
Yeah, great question. So a prerequisite to membership of New Zealand Certified Builders is that the applicant be trade qualified in carpentry. If you can't be trade qualified in carpentry, you can't become a member of ours. That's unique to us.
All right. Do you provide any guarantees for the work that your members do? Is this an underwriting facility, an insurance facility? And what would your relationship be with, say, master builders?
Okay, so answer your first question, we do have a 10-year home guarantee product. It's called Halo, and that is purchased by the homeowner, and that protects the build for 10 years. So anything that goes wrong with workmanship for the build, and that includes products and systems that are involved in it for 10 years. In terms of master builders, that's the other trade association in the New Zealand market.
Are they your competitors?
They would be our main competitor, yes.
Okay, all right. Are your members recognised, and how many members do you have, by the way? How much of the industry do you cover?
So in terms of the residential space, it's probably a third master builders and a third not involved with anybody or not a member of any trade association. So in terms of number of members, 2,300 businesses, average size of those business members about 6 people, and we have another 450 individual members on top of that who aren't actually building.
All right. So there's a chance if I'm getting someone to build my house or put on a carport or something, I got a 33% chance that they're a member of your organisation, right?
Likely. And in terms of if homeowners or you are looking for sort of a track record and a quality assurance mark, more than likely it's going to be.
All right. Are your members recognised by the regulatory changes introduced by the government this week? Are your members given an opportunity to get faster consents and get round some of the red tape because they're your members?
Okay, I think it's important to recognise there's 2 pieces of change that were launched by the Minister and the Prime Minister on Monday. One is in the Building Consent Authority space, so that's primarily your councils. and they're talking about gaining greater consistency across the Building Consent Authority network. Currently there's about 66, 67 BCAs, which is a hell of a lot, and there's inconsistencies between what one council will recognise from an application to another one down the road.
So a standardisation of the procedures.
That was what we're looking for as an industry. There was a number of proposals put forward by government. They've chosen last year, including one centralised Building Consent Authority. Another option, which was quite well regarded by the industry, was 3 or 4 sort of super regional BCAs. They've gone for another option, which is voluntary amalgamation. So what that means is some of those councils, at the moment, every council must be a Building Consent Authority. Not all of them want to be doing that. And a lot of them also are working with their neighbours or larger councils like Auckland Council, for example, to do some of the more complex work. Say there is a high rise in their particular area, they need that sort of expertise. That's one part of it, the BCA. The other big piece, and this is a big structural change, biggest change in the industry probably from 20, 30 years, is this move in the liability settings. So that's moving from joint and several, where everybody involved in the consent process, so that's the person who designed it, architect, engineer, etc., person who built it, people like I represent, and the Building Consent Authority who consent it, are all responsible if something should go wrong with the building down the track. Yeah. And you mentioned leaky buildings years ago, and that's a prime example of it. At the moment, all of them are bound jointly to cover that risk. And if one of them disappears, whether it be an architect, whether it be a builder, the others have to coalesce around and take up that share.
Okay.
The lost.
So what are the changes on Monday going to do in those circumstances?
So what they're looking at doing is, because of this joint and several, there is risk aversion by the Building Consent Authority. So it's all linked together. So what that means, when they're looking at a consent, they're looking at it forensically, because they are concerned about liability sitting with them. Sean, you probably heard the phrase last man standing or the deepest pockets in regard to the councils. What that means, if there's a problem like the leaking buildings, other players like builders and architects and things that may have gone, all under joint and several, most of that liability sits with the councils and their ratepayers, and that's inequitable. So as part of that, they're risk adverse, and they're not being open to looking at new products and systems coming into the New Zealand market and appearing on plans that go in front of them to consent, because they're thinking, we don't know this product, there's risk attached to not knowing about it, therefore I'm going to go for my trusted, tried and true. So this breaks away from all of that. You asked, where does the guarantee sort of tie in with that? If a big part of the problem with not moving to proportional liability before, which means everybody's responsible for their portion of the cost restoration, is that builders can't get what they call professional indemnity cover. In this country, widely available for the architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, etc., so that's all good. The builders can't get that, particularly the SME residential builders like those ones that I represent. So in Australia, they use a mandatory building warranty product. And that is the key to it. It needs to be mandatory.
I'm going to stop you there just quickly, Malcolm. If I get some building work done and it gets consented fast and it gets built, I have the Implied Warranties Act, right? I shouldn't have to, as the person purchasing the building or getting it built, have to worry about any of this, should I?